Eldoret, where we are now joined by the governor of this great county, county number 27, the Honorable Jackson Mandago. Thank you so much for making time for us. I know you had a busy day today with the viewing party of the marathon, but let's get straight into it. And I want to start with health, bearing in mind what we are presently experiencing. And in terms of infrastructure and response, how has it been for the Uasin Gishu County government?
Thank you very much, Edmond. First and foremost, let me say that we are pleased to host you in Eldoret.
Thank you.
On the roadshow. Secondly, is to say that as county government of Uasin Gishu, in terms of health infrastructure, we have 121 facilities, public facilities, and about 18 private facilities in the county. We are also privileged to host a second national referral hospital, that is MTRH. But for us, from the county government perspective, I want to say that we have a fairly robust healthcare system in the county. Why do I say that? I say that because in view of the pandemic that we're experiencing as a country, our county Department of Health, together with other stakeholders, they were able to, I would say, adequately respond. And we witnessed a very efficient and a very rapid response team that was able to do contact tracing, that was able to take those who are already patient into isolation centers, and they were able to quarantine those that needed to be quarantined. By God's grace, all the patients that we took in, and we are talking about 435 patients, we never lost anyone. All our patients recovered. We have a few, of course, infections still keep happening here and there, but we are now on the home care protocols, and I think we are doing very well.
One of the concerns to come out of this is, of course, the welfare of health workers, and this cuts across the country. You've seen counties where health workers have gone on strike or threatened to do so because they say, you know, preventive measures are not really good on their part, at least for them, I should say, in terms of providing the PPEs that are required, in terms of remuneration, in terms of general welfare. How has this been for you with the doctors, and what lessons have you learned that you can now take forward in terms of improving your health care infrastructure?
Edmond, thank you very much. I think when we talk of welfare of health workers, I would rather we discuss the welfare of all public servants. In terms of remuneration, and the challenge that we have as counties is we took over a health force that one was already experiencing delay in promotions. So when county governments came into place, like in my county, I had people who had served for 16 years and they have not been promoted. Now the backlog is not a creation of county governments. The backlog was a creation of national government through Ministry of Health in the past. What have we done as county governments? Slowly, depending on the resources that we get, we've been able to promote, we've been able to send some of our officers for training, and we've been able to also honor a few CBAs. But I want to say this, Edmond, that although we are not, as government, both county and national government, we may not be giving the best remuneration, but I would want to say that we are fairly good. Why do I say that? If you compare in terms of scale, and remember these are all public servants, we serve under the same public service commission structures and salary structures and so forth. Healthcare workers, in terms of allowances, in terms of other benefits, they have been fairly taken care of. It may not be the best of the expectation, but we are managing with the resources that we have. It is not the wish of government, you know, not to pay people on time or to do that. Even when health workers are not paid in time, it doesn't mean the other cadres in agriculture, in roads, in water have been paid. When there are no salaries, there are no salaries across the board.
But don't you think that's unfair to some of these people? I know how the system works. Some of these delays are a result of that. But it's unfair to these people. They come to work. They expect to be remunerated.
Yes, and that is a matter that we want to take it up with national government. Because our argument, and if you have heard my chairman, Honorable Paranya, speak, we have been asking, why is it that it is possible for national government to pay their employees on the 28th of every month and delay funds to counties, and we are not able to pay our employees? So it's a matter National Treasury should be able to answer.
Very quickly, how much of a problem has the stalemate we are experiencing now caused for counties?
Definitely that's cost us a lot. One, Edmond, you know we run a financial year. We are supposed to have done some procurements by now. We are in the second quarter and we are yet to begin procuring. Remember, we are tied with the IFMI system where you cannot procure before the funds are actually on the account. So if you attempt to do procurement, the system will go and query the votes, and then they find the votes have no funds, and then they will return none, so you cannot start a procurement. We are waiting for the president to ascend to the CARA, and then probably the funds will begin flowing. What you are seeing happening in counties is the carryovers of last financial year. But the programs that we had planned for this financial year, I'm afraid we have not started. And what are we going to experience? I can even tell you beforehand. 1st July next year, Treasury, PS, together with the CS, will put an advert. I'm sure it will appear in Nation Daily. It will appear on the Standard, showing the balances of the money counties have not been able to spend. What will be the statement? Counties have a lot of money and they're not able to spend. The question is, when did you release that money?
Yes and no answer. There's talk of a possible shutdown in the counties. Was Ngishu the position on that?
We have no choice. You know, Edmond, as it is now, I don't have moral authority to begin asking my staff, why have you not gone to work? Why is this program not running? How do I begin asking people who don't have a salary? But fortunately, some money was released about 2-3 weeks ago. And this is carryover of last financial year. We've been able to pay salaries, but now we don't have money for operations. In fact, what Treasury is doing, and I want to tell my friend Ukuri Atane, he was a governor. It doesn't serve this country any purpose to release money for salaries on them without releasing money for development. The reason we have operation and maintenance is to facilitate development. Now, you are making me spend on salaries and others, but I'm not spending on development. And that's what the public require.
Let's talk about agriculture, which is one of the economic activities in this county and really big for farmers. And recently we've had complaints from farmers in accessing markets, first of all, and the whole thing with the NCVB and all of that fertilizer has become, the subsidized fertilizer program also has become an issue of concern. As they wait for, of course, solutions from the national government and the ministry there, from county level, how are you aiding in their productivity and, of course, access to markets and all the other amenities and everything else they need?
Edmond, first, before we go to what counties are doing, I think there's something that we need to revisit. When the functions were given to county governments, the principle was resources follow function. If you look at the budget today, the money that remains in the Ministry of Agriculture in the national government is still the same or more than the money that Ministry of Agriculture used to have before devolution. What does that tell you? We were not given funds that were meant for agriculture function sufficiently to counties. That notwithstanding, we in county governments are also doing a few things to help our farmers. Number one, we've put our farmers into cooperative societies. The purpose of that is for farmers to be able to, take advantage of economies of scale by collecting their produce and then looking for better prices, because buyers and markets will also look at the advantage of, collecting in bulk. Number two, in terms of grain, we have already built some stores for our farmers just to mitigate on post-harvest losses. We have also put our farmers together into a cooperative union, the various small cooperatives into a cooperative union, and we're in the process of assisting our farmers establish their own milling plant. In terms of fertilizer and other farm inputs, we have had serious discussions in the past with Minister of Agriculture, and this year, the crop that we have this year, we expect a bumper harvest. We had inputs on time. And when government stops interfering with the question of supply and demand, whether in inputs or even in the produce, then the market should be able to determine the appropriate price. And we saw it last year when government never imported maize and when government never interfered with fertilizer, we were able to sell our maize at a very good price and we were able to get inputs on time without necessarily going to queue in the National Cereals and Produce Board.
Governor, hold that thought. We come back after the break. From Eldoret in county number 27 in Uasin Gishu. We are still here with the Governor, Jackson Mandago. Quite the event today in town, by the way. The viewing party that we had there, and I'm sure, and we have had this conversation from before earlier today, sports tourism how you can build on what you have here, the talent, the facilities, the climate, to build a package that sort of attracts sports enthusiasts, fans, and athletes alike. How do you do that?
Thank you very much, Edmond. First and foremost, as counties of the North Rift, we've come together under the North Rift Economic Bloc, and we are working together with the Ministry of Tourism to establish a North Rift tourism circuit. Now, in terms of sports tourism, what we are envisaging as county governments in this region is first to enhance our training camps, which has been the source of all these world beaters that you see around. Together with national government, of course, we are trying to improve our training facilities and also put in government training facilities other than the competition facilities as the stadiums. We also need to put up training facilities. In the county government of Wasingishu, we are already putting up an high-altitude training center that can accommodate up to 100 athletes in Chagaya. This is in the process, a project that had stalled a bit, but we are now on course, and we are optimistic that before February, that project will be complete. The other thing that we are doing is actually profiling our athletes. As a nation, I think we have a challenge in terms of keeping our historical records and recognizing those who have brought honor to this country. If we go back to the 60s, we have more than 10 athletes who performed very well before independence and immediately after independence. Yes. Some of those guys are just around here in the county. They are most sought after in other countries whenever they travel sometimes. But when they are here locally, I don't think we are making good use of them. But we are in the process of ensuring that we do a proper profile and also establish a sports museum so that we are able to attract tourists. And I think our pitching point will be attracting people to come and train with our champions and also people to come and run with our champions, even fun runners.
Okay. Let's talk about politics, and you know, the events at present come to mind, what we are seeing in the country, and at some point you made a very famous you know, statement, "Hii siasa usiweke kwa roho." When you look back at what you said with what's going on in the country at present in mind, what exactly did you mean, and how does that apply to what we are seeing right now?
Thank you very much, Edmond. What I meant is that from where I sit as a politician, and from the experiences I've seen, and you've heard people say they are not permanent enemies or friends in politics. I've looked at our political landscape in this country from independence to date. If you look at the people who have been quarreling and fighting and being in opposition in government, they are the same guys. At some point, they are together. When they disagree, they part ways. Shortly, they will come together. And what happens? Raya, who is a voter, who is not involved even in the decisions that are made, where this party will go, what we want to do, which direction we want to go, who we want to support. You know, some of them get so hungry, spend a lot of sleepless nights, and even might get blood pressure. But the players in the industry, it's not a serious game.
So we had 2 deaths today, and it's 2 years to an election, yeah? And does this worry you as a leader, and what can we do to resolve this problem?
Edmond, it doesn't just worry me as a leader. It worries me as a young person in this country, as a young leader in this country. Where do we want to take this nation? And if they heed my advice, I don't see why anybody would be bothered to try and prevent another politician from accessing some region. You know, from what happened in Keno, I saw some lady there being interviewed and saying, you know, we were given 1,000 shillings, we were ferried from some corner. First and foremost, I want to tell the young people of this country, we need Kenya more than the people we are fighting for. Raila Odinga is already 70. Uhuru Kenyatta is heading to 60. William Ruto is in his late 50s. Those of us who are 40-something and below, we need this country more than these people. Okay. We have no reason to go and fight. And I want to tell the young people, as a young politician, hii siasa ya Kenya, my friend, watu wakienda kuongea, your interest is probably third last in the discussion. And we want to be honest. Because what do you see in the discussion that's happening now? Tukipeana wheelbarrow kona hii, Watu wanauliza kwani wheelbarrow inapeanwa? Wewe si ulete pickup.
Okay, without...
Na hatuna kazi kama vijana. You know.
All right, finally, 2022, your second term as governor comes to an end. How do you proceed? What do you do after that? They're advocating for regional governments. Are you interested?
Edmund, I don't support regional governments.
Okay.
If this BBI is coming, number one, my position, creating another layer of government is increasing government bureaucracy. We already have enough bureaucracy, whether in national government and even county governments. Devolution was not just about creating the county. If you read the constitution very well, we were supposed to devolve from county headquarters to the sub-county and from sub-county to the ward. We in county government of Uasin Gishu we are just almost completing building our sub-county offices and ward offices. Now to begin the implementation of further devolution to the sub-county and to the ward level. These regional governments that are being proposed and the suggestion is to take care of second-term governors. My friend, I think we read the constitution very well.
So where are you
that
going?
The term was supposed to be 2 terms.
Okay.
Mimi, hii BBI imekuja. Wakifungua term limit ya governor ni tano fresh. Wasipofungua niko na options. Naweza kuwa senator ama naweza kuwa mkulima wa parachichi.
All right, thank you so much, Governor.